Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to my brand new channel. I'm excited to start this journey with y'all. I'm a Jets fan. My name is Jacob, and I'm here to break down the schedule that just released yesterday. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the new season, and I'm excited to see, everything that's going on with the schedule and to give you guys the scoop on what's going on. So let's get right into it. So, of course, the schedule just dropped yesterday. Week 1. Of course, we've known that for a little while, since Tuesday, I believe. I believe it was ESPN that dropped that little knowledge on us, or maybe it was ABC. I'm not sure. But we've known it for a while, nonetheless. And it's in San Francisco, Santa Clara, if you want to be technical, with the 49ers. And, guys, I am a little bit scared of the 49ers. Of course, they went to the NFC Championship just a couple months ago. Ultimately fell short of the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs, but nonetheless, they are the second best team in this league until proven otherwise. And I think the Jets do have a chance to prove them otherwise. I think this is going to be a very good team now that Zach is off the team and Rodgers is back as our QB. We've added some good pieces, new rookies. I think this team is definitely on the is trending upwards. So I'm excited to see what this team has in store. San Francisco, it's a tough place to come in and win, though. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but I think it's definitely something we are able to do. It's just going to be probably our toughest game to pull off a win here. And of course, we're going into week 2. This is where everything's new and just dropped yesterday. Week 2 in Tennessee facing the Titans. And this is interesting. 2 road games right off the bat. I expected maybe a home game the second week, but the schedule makers are not doing us any favors. They're giving us 2 road games back to back to begin the season. And Tennessee, it's not terrible. Right after the 49ers, they're a really hard opponent to go against. Tennessee the next week, it shouldn't. I won't say it will be a cakewalk, because it definitely won't be. Tennessee has upgraded their team tremendously over this last offseason, but they're not exactly the strongest team in the league. So I expect the Jets to do pretty well against Tennessee. They are coming off a short week, though, of course, Monday night being the 49ers game. So they have one less day to prepare for them, but I think they'll do fairly well. I think this is definitely a game that we should win. So crossing our fingers there. Week 3. I believe last season was also against the Patriots, week 3. We don't need to talk about that, though. We are starting new. No longer are we the Jets that the Patriots can just walk all over for almost an entire decade. So I'm excited, man. We finally get to stick it to the Pats, and now it's their turn to see how we felt the last decade. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this game. First home game. It's a Thursday night game. They kind of screwed over the season ticket holders, but then again, the schedule makers always do every year. But I'm excited for this game, man. It should be a good one. Home opener Thursday night. The crowd should be electric. Unfortunately, I would love to go to this game, but I'm going to be in Japan at that time. I'm going to try to go to at least one game, and if the Jets make the playoffs, I'm going to that game. I'm excited for this game. Again, definitely should be a win. Patriots are not what they used to be, and I'm excited for the Jets to get this W here. Moving on to week 4. The Denver Broncos. Man, I'm just excited that we're not playing in Denver. I don't want AVT to injure a different body part. Now, is it Denver's field? Is it just Denver in general, the Broncos in general? That's cursed. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's just, Denver itself, the city. But now that we got 2 back-to-back road games to open the season, we got 2 back-to-back home games after that. And, coming off the Thursday night game, we get a little bit more time to prepare for the Broncos, to stick it to Sean Payton and to Zach Wilson. This might be interesting. If Zach Wilson, it turns out to be the starter, and they let Bo Nix sit for a year behind him, I don't know, man. This could be a very interesting game to watch. that our defense would get 4 or 5 picks, maybe, who knows, against Zach Wilson. If they do decide to start Bo Nix, then I think this defense will feast on him, bro. They love feasting on these rookies. They do really well against opposing quarterbacks, and against opposing rookies, it should be even better. So, Bo Nix, Zach Wilson, whoever's starting here, again, the Jets should win this game, but you never know. Now let's get into week 5. This one's really interesting. We have an international game. London. We're traveling to London, and it's against the Vikings. And I'm kind of glad that this is technically a home game for the Vikings, so we don't have to use a home game in London, because of course we have one less home game than we do road games this year, 9-8. But yeah, man, London should be very interesting. I don't know how that'll work, especially with like trying to get guys ready. I'm not sure. I'm really excited for the London game to see what's going on. I think the last London game we had was 2021, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Falcons, if I'm remembering that correctly. But I'm excited for this, man. An international game. And I'm excited to see what the Vikings are going to do. J.J. McCarthy, are they going to start Sammy D and let J.J. McCarthy sit for a year? It's kind of the same situation with the Broncos, right? Or not the same, but similar. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. So on to week 6, of course, the Buffalo Bills. This is the first time we're seeing them this season, and I'm excited. I was at the week 1 game last season versus the Bills, of course, when Rodgers only played 4 snaps. But man, was that exciting. And I really want to see this again, at home versus the Bills. I believe it's Monday night. Is it a Monday night game? I don't remember about that, but it is prime time. We have lots of prime time games this season. I'm excited for it. And I don't know if I'm going to go to this one. It's either, I'm thinking about going to this one, week 6, maybe the Texans game. The Jaguars game too, because I do live in Florida, so that'd be a 3-hour drive. But this is one game I'm considering going to, because we always play well against Josh Allen. For some reason, Josh Allen he does not do well with the Jets defense, and I'm excited for the defense to feast off of Josh Allen. And so on to week 7, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be a sneaky good team. And a lot of people are writing them off and, saying, oh, they got Russell Wilson, they got Justin Fields, they have 2 quarterbacks, but they're both the same kind of quarterback. I'm not a huge Russ believer, but I honestly think that Justin Fields got a bad shake in Chicago. I believe they should have kept him and built around him for this year. I think Justin Fields has the potential to be a good quarterback. And if by, this time they decide to either bench rush or they never started him in the first place and they just started Justin Fields this season, I am kind of scared of Pittsburgh. I'm kind of scared of Justin Fields a little bit. I know we feasted on him when we played the Bears, I think a couple years back, but I do think he has the potential to be really good, and this Steelers D also does too. Primetime, again, another primetime game. They're loading this front half of the schedule with primetime games for the Jets. But yeah, man, I'm really sneakily kind of scared of this Steelers team. But going on to week 8. Now, second matchup with the Patriots. This, again, same thing. Patriots, they're not what they used to be, man. It should be easy. It should be a cakewalk for the Jets with their current roster. I mean, on paper, we have one of the best rosters in the league. And then on paper, the Patriots suck. So I'm excited to do the little reversal of what they've done to us for a long time. But I've already talked about the Pats a little bit. On to week 9. Prime time again versus the Texans. Again, this is might be a game I might be going to. It's a very intriguing matchup, man. We of course beat the Texans last year, but who knows? Will they improve? Will they, Stroud go into his sophomore slump? Who knows? I'm really excited for this game. Should be a really good one on prime time, and I'm really excited to see Tank Dell. Unfortunately, he went out last year with the injury. But Stephon Diggs, we're going to see him again. We've pretty much locked him down, every year that he was with the Bills, he never really got anything going on us. So I believe we got him figured out, and hopefully it stays the same with the Texans. But yeah, should be a really good game. Should be really close. Going to the Cardinals in Arizona, away game. Mm, this is not the same Arizona team that we saw last year. I believe they were what 4-13 last year, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely should be a lot better. Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a stud. Um, they upgraded this offense, man. That's all there is to it. And Kyler Murray, well, I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league. Definitely not the worst. I would consider him to be an average QB. But we do have trouble with that kind of mobile running around, splitting the defense kind of quarterback. And that is kind of the only thing that really worries me. I'm kind of scared how his defense will react to Kyler Murray and his play style. But other than that, I mean, it's not too tough of a game. It's pretty favorable. So on to week 11, the Colts. Prime time. Again, our last prime time game, unless, we get flexed into another one later in the season. This is an intriguing one. I don't know how this is going to be. Anthony Richardson coming back from the season ender. Nobody really knows anything about him in the NFL. He got injured way too soon, so there's not a lot of tape on him. We don't really know how he's going to work with the offense. Will it be kind of a CJ Stroud-esque, resurgence, or will he kind of be like Bryce Young because they're from the same draft class? Not sure, but I'm really excited to see, how he's going to turn out and watch him throughout the season to get some tape on him for this game. And again, last primetime game until maybe we get flexed into one later. And now on to the bye week. I love where this bye week is positioned. Man, it seems like since forever ago, like we've always had week 6, week 7, week 5. Those are our bye weeks, right? The schedule makers really screw us over every year with that. But we got a favorable bye week this year in week 12. I think it's really good because if we're looking to make that playoff push, that's going to be an extra, what is it, four games if I'm not mistaken, until the Super Bowl. So we're going to need that rest more evenly split down the middle of our season than week 5. So I'm excited for the bye week. I'm really glad that this is where we got it, and should give it good opportunity for the guys to have plenty of rest. And now on to week 13, the Seattle Seahawks at home. Who are they going to start? Are they going to start Sam Howell, Geno Smith? I can see the storyline, Geno Smith. Maybe this gets flexed into primetime because of that. I'm not too sure. It's probably going to be one of the other games if they are going to flex this into primetime later. But should be intriguing, man. It's interesting. DK Metcalf. Who else do they have on the roster? I'm not big into the Seahawks. I don't really know who they have on their roster, but I really don't know if they're going to start Sam Howell. They might start him this year. Who knows? But on to Miami. Miami at Miami. So I'm glad that we're getting them later in the season where it's not sweltering hot in Florida. Believe me, I live in Florida. I know how hot it is and how hot it can get. But now, later in the season, when is week 14? November? Late November? It should be cooling down, so kind of. We don't really get cool down here in Florida. It's just summer all the time. But it definitely shouldn't be as bad as like a September game, an October game in Miami. Shouldn't be as bad. And I'm excited, man. Maybe this will be a game I can go to as well. Again, it's just a quick drive from where I am. But it should be a good game. And let's see how Tua performs against this defense. Because from what I remember, he's done pretty well. But again, he's very injury prone. So who knows if he'll last this long in the season. If he doesn't, then we have a really good shot here in Miami. So on to the next one. The Jaguars. Again, this might be, I might be going back-to-back weeks going to games. Miami, and then driving back up to Jacksonville. Who knows? But this is a really good one, man. I don't know how the Jaguars are going to be. Last year, they they just didn't live up to the expectations from the year before that. So is Trevor Lawrence going to make his bounce back? I don't know. It's really intriguing. I don't know how the Jaguars are going to be. I feel like they're one of those teams that could be either really good, go to the playoffs, or they could just be really bad. I feel like there might not be an in between here for them. But it's interesting to see, how they're going to be. All right, Los Angeles Rams. Of course, they're at home though. Glad we don't have to fly out west, except for San Francisco, really, or in Arizona, I guess. But that's not the same, really, as going to LA twice a year. But the Rams at home. This is going to be tough. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. They've got a couple of really good wide receivers with them with their core. And of course, Matthew Stafford, who knows? I think we might be able to have a good game against Matthew Stafford, but they're going to get screens to Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. They're really fast. They're really shifty. So it might not matter if we have a good game against Stafford if he just checks the ball down to them every time and then gets 15-yard gains every time from them. So who knows? I'm really excited to see how this one's going to be. Should be a very tough matchup, and I'm excited for it, man. All right. Buffalo Bills, second time facing them, week 17. Now, this is an away game, and historically, we've not done very well away in Buffalo. So, I don't know how this is going to be. I think we definitely probably split with Buffalo. They got worse than last year, definitely, for sure. I don't know by how much, though. They could have just taken a very small step back, or they could have taken a large step back. I'm not really too sure where they're at right now as the season progresses and into training camp and preseason. Maybe we'll get a better look at, what kind of Buffalo team this will be. But for right now, they're still Buffalo, and they're still probably a playoff team, if not maybe just on the outside of the playoffs. So I believe we probably split with them. They're going to be a really good team this year. So, on to Miami. Again, last game. I don't know when this is going to be. I think this is probably a game we get flexed into primetime. Of course, I think it's probably either going to be us or Miami for the division. And this might be the game that decides it. Who knows? But I'm really excited for this one, man. Because, of course, we get Miami at the very end of the schedule in New York in the cold. Man, I hope it snows. I hope it snows, man. Because Miami, they're not going to do well with that. And I think the schedule makers did us a solid here with this one, giving us Miami at home at the end of the season. And I'm really excited for this one to see how they're going to play in the cold weather. Because historically, they do really bad in the cold weather, especially last season. So who knows? This will be a really good game, I'm sure. But I'm hoping we can just sneak out the win here for the division. All right, guys. That was that. Now it's time to go into record predictions. Way too early record prediction. I know this is way too early. It's only May. Calm down. I'll make another one later in the season when we get closer to preseason, and then one right before the season starts. All right. Week 1, 49ers. I've said this when I went over them, but they're going to be really hard to beat, man. And look, the schedule makers did not do us any favors putting them week 1. And I know a lot of people feel that way. But if I'm honest, I kind of like this. I kind of like having them week 1. Having them week 1 gives us an advantage in that we don't have to go out west really for the rest of the season. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about traveling so far, except for London. But, if we get them out of the way first, they don't really have any tape on Rodgers. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look this up and get more information, but I'm pretty sure they get off to a slow start a lot of the times, a lot of seasons. So if we get them week 1, this might be to our advantage. A lot of people might not think it that way, but this might be to our advantage here, having them week 1. And if we do end up beating the 49ers week 1 in Santa Clara, imagine what that'll do for the New York Jets image. Ooh, man, dude, coming out Monday Night Football and knocking down the San Francisco 49ers week 1. Imagine what everybody else in the league is going to say about the New York Jets defeating the reigning NFC champion 49ers. Dude, that'll put us on the map. That'll put the league on notice saying, hey, we're for real. We are for real, and you'll need to take us seriously. Man, I love that. That being said, I do think it's a loss. If we're gonna lose a game this year, this is probably the hardest game we're gonna do. So, I mean, look, it's unfortunate going 0-1 to start. It is, yeah, but I think it's probably going to be a loss. They are still the NFC championships, but if I'm wrong and we happen to knock their teeth out, dude, oh man, I wish I would have been there. Week 2, going on the road to Tennessee. I think again, I said this before, I don't think it'll be a cakewalk, but they're definitely not the hardest team to beat. I think this is probably where I'm hitting the wrong buttons here, man. Probably where we get our first win. And it's on the road too, so that's good. Again, Will Levis, who knows what he is really? He's played, but I don't know. He doesn't seem very special to me. He can't do the special things like a Patrick Mahomes or even like a Justin Fields can do, like roll out and just throw it. But I don't know, man. Who knows what Will Levis is? And I think we get our first win here. And now on to the Patriots. I said this before. I think we go out there, I think Thursday night football, and we knock their teeth out. It is about time, bro. It is about time that we knock the Patriots down like they did to us. Now, the Broncos. Look, they have taken away Elijah Vera Tucker from us for too long. We gave him Zach. You can have him. We don't want him anymore. And who knows if he starts or not? Who knows if it's Bo Nix? We'll get, with that information closer to when the season starts. But ultimately, Zach Wilson, Bo Nix, I don't think it matters who they start. I think ultimately we end up getting the win. And I do think we get a 3-win win streak here. Look at that. On to week 5 in London, going far, far away. Technically, a home game for the Vikings, so that's pretty good. We don't have to use one of our home games in London. And the Vikings losing Kirk Cousins, I think it was a mistake not to re-sign him, honestly. Look, they got J.J. McCarthy. They got Sam Darnold in free agency. Sam Darnold, he's a backup. A fringe starter at most. Somebody who can come in and, win you 1 or 2 games. You know what I mean? J.J. McCarthy, who knows if they start him or not, or sit him behind Sam Darnold. I think ultimately, again, it's kind of similar with the Broncos in that it doesn't matter. We should beat both of them. So I believe we get a win here. In London, no less. All right, on to Buffalo, week 6. And yeah, man, I think this will be a really good game. And I do think we get the win here. Look at that, a 5-win streak. When does that happen for the Jets recently? Never. Since 2015, probably. But yeah, man, I think we get the win here at Buffalo, and I think, look at that, 5-1. We really stamp our name into the NFL history books. Look at that. At this point, everybody's saying, "Whoa, the Jets, 5-1? Well, I thought they were going to be good, but 5-1. I didn't think they were going to do that." And of course, are they going to be able to get another win? They're going to go 6-1? No, probably not. Look, a lot of people are down on the Steelers because of, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. Who's going to be their quarterback? Ultimately, I think that at this point in the season, if they start Russell Wilson, I think our defense is going to make them bench him for Justin Fields. And when that happens, look, I'm a Justin Fields truther, man. I love Justin Fields. I think he just got a very bad raw deal in Chicago, and they never should have let him go. But I do think we take an L here. I think Pittsburgh is going to be sneaky good, man. On to the Patriots, week 8, second time facing them. I think we get our win here. We're sweeping the Patriots. Finally, man, they've done it for so long. We get to do it to them too. All right, on to week 9. I think we do get a loss here. Texans, we beat them last year, but they only got better this year, realistically. Come on. And they went to the playoffs. So I think CJ Stroud, will he have that sophomore slump, or will he get even better? Personally, I think he gets even better, or even if he just stays at the same height that he was last year. I think this is going to be a much improved Texans team from what it already was last year. And I think, yeah, unfortunately, they're going to come and we're going to take the L here. So we're 6-3, almost halfway through the season. Pretty good, pretty good. Now, we've done this before. We've gone, 6-3 or, 4-2 or whatever halfway through the season. And we're looking like a really good, legitimate team. And then we just collapse in the second half of the year. That seems to happen a lot since, recently. But that's not going to happen. We're going to keep going. And we're going to get a win over the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. And again, they're not going to be as bad as last year. Definitely not. But they're not going to be what the Texans were. They're not going to go from bottom of the barrel to one of the best teams. That's just a fluke from the Texans. I believe it's something special they got going on down there. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going to be able to replicate that. So we're going to get a win here. All right, and on to, I believe it's Monday Night Football, or no, Sunday Night Football for the Colts. Anthony Richardson, he's going to come back and maybe stay healthy till week 11, who knows? But they don't have Gardner Minshew anymore to stay behind him, so who knows what happens if Richardson gets hurt. Week 11, I think we get the W here. 8-3, doing pretty good going into the bye week. 8-3 is really good going into a week 12 bye week, man. And I'm excited to see, we're going to get extra rest here going into Seattle, which is why I think we get a win over Seattle, get that extra rest, and game plan time for Seattle. Again, Sam Howell, Geno Smith, don't think it's going to matter who the quarterback is. Our defense has got him on lock, and Drew Lock I don't think is on their team anymore. But going right after the bye week, 9-3, pretty good. Now, going to Miami. We've always struggled against Miami, whether we're at home or whether we're in Miami. We've struggled against the Dolphins mightily. And when I know I talked about, it's later in the season, cold weather a little bit, it's not going to be as hot. So we're not cooking on the Miami sidelines there. But I do think it is going to be still a loss. They've got the home field. And I think we are going to still lose to Miami here in Miami. Tua, whether he stays healthy, I'm not sure who they have as a backup. Is Mike White still their backup? I'm not sure. But I do think ultimately we do lose to the Dolphins here. On to week 15, Jaguars, we take a win against them. Again, this is just speculation, but to me, they're one of those teams where they're just either going to be really good or they're just going to fall off completely and be really bad. I'm not sure. I'm kind of on the side of they're going to stick with last year. They're not going to be as bad as last year, but they're not going to be, I don't think they'll be a playoff team or anything. I think the Texans have got their division on lock, and then the Colts right behind them probably. But I do think we get a win versus Jacksonville here in Jacksonville. On to the Rams at home. We lose. They've got a really good team, man. I love Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. He's really good. Matthew Stafford. And Kyron Williams. I'm forgetting about Kyron Williams. He was really good last year. I got beat by him in fantasy many times, but I'm excited to see what this Rams team is able to do, and maybe they get a better playoff push this year. So I think ultimately we are going to fall short to them in Week 16. Going on to Buffalo. Now, this is going to be hard. 2 losses in a row. I know. First time I've done that this schedule. Man, that's never happened. All right, 10-6 though, still pretty good. Hey, if anybody told you, before we added the 17th game or whatever a couple of years ago, hey, we're going to end with 10-6 record. Like, yeah, we're going to the playoffs. That's what we did in 2015, didn't we? If I'm not mistaken. But again, we do get 2 losses in a row here. Unfortunate, but I do think we split with Buffalo. I don't think we quite have their number yet to sweep them. I do think we can get to that point. I do think we have a chance of sweeping Buffalo. But as of right now, maybe I'll change my mind later when I make another one of these record prediction videos. But I do think we split with Buffalo this year until something changes my mind. Going back home versus the Dolphins. Really glad. I hope it snows. I hope it's cold. Oh, I hope it's cold. The Finns can freeze their little tails off. I think we get a win here. Win over the Dolphins, securing us a playoff spot and the division. I think this game probably goes down to us or Miami for the division. And I do think we probably split with Miami as well. I don't think we sweep them. They're way too good for that. They are going to be probably a playoff team. Now, I think either the Jets or the Dolphins, of course, one of those two are going to win the division. The other one, I think, is still going to get into the playoffs just as a wild card. I guess that's not a thing anymore. There's only one team that skips the first round. But you know what I mean. One wins the division. I think the other one still gets into the playoffs, just doesn't win the division. I do have the Jets here winning the division, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to finally beat the Dolphins after not winning against them last year, and the shutout. But I am excited, and man, 11-6, pretty good. Now, some people might have them higher, going 12-5, 13-4. I tried to do this a little bit more realistic. I know I have the Jets perspective here, so I'm a little bit biased. But I do think we can get to an 11-win season. Even I do think it's possible to get a 13-win season. But I'm erring on the side of caution here, losing a couple of games that maybe we shouldn't lose, like the Steelers. I know they are going to be sneaky good, but we shouldn't technically lose that game. But I do think, got to throw a couple in there. We split with the Dolphins, split with the Bills, sweep the Patriots. Hey, look at that. I'm glad for that. But yeah, man, 11-6, really good. I think we make the playoffs with this. We definitely make the playoffs, if not win the division. And I'm excited to see this team this year, man. Now, some key takeaways from the schedule. We've got a lot of primetime games, man. I want to say that, but we do have an end of the season gauntlet, man. Let me go back to this. If you look at that, Miami, Jacksonville. Again, they could be either really good or really bad, so it kind of depends on that. But Miami, Jacksonville, the Rams are going to be really good. The Bills we split with, so we probably lose this game. The Dolphins, they're really tough to face always. That 5-game stretch is going to be really hard, bro. We have an end-of-season gauntlet. Now, I do think we win a couple of the games. We don't go 0-5 during that time. But it's going to be tough, man. I think we have a pretty good middle of the schedule. That's pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but we can definitely win a lot of those games. But that end of season is going to be really tough. One international game. Look at that. London versus the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm really excited. This should be really good. I'm excited to wake up at 9 a.m. on that Sunday morning. I'm not going to London just for the game, but man, if I could see an NFL game in London, this is probably one I would go to because of the Jets fan, But yeah, man, this should be a really exciting game. Now, on to my next point. 6 primetime games. That's a lot of primetime games. I believe the max a team can have is actually 6, unless they get flexed. Maybe they can go to 7 then. I'm not sure. But that's a lot of primetime games. We're coming off short weeks for, Monday night football, Sunday night football. If we have Thursday night, which we have 2 of those, we could have extra time. We do have extra time. So there's a lot of little things here that go into the prime time. It's not always just, oh, yay, prime time. It's so exciting. It's like, yeah, but the guys, they're not getting as much rest. They're not getting as much game planning. So it's kind of like a trade-off for, the fans' excitement and then the actual, production of the game. But I do think it's exciting that we're getting more primetime games. We're getting into the national spotlight. And then we have a really favorable bye, week 12. That's really important. It's really important to get our guys rested up in the middle of the season when we definitely have a good chance of making the playoffs and having that extra, 1, 2, 3, 4 games. And we don't want a week 5 or a week 6 bye when we're having to play another like 1, 2, 3, or 4 games into the playoffs. That's just gonna suck. So I'm excited, man, and I'm really excited to get into this team. Now, I don't know how much content I'll be doing from here until preseason. I'll go over some training camp things, stuff like that, deep dives on players maybe. But who knows? I'm excited, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm excited to start this new channel, and excited to take this journey with you guys. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys whenever the next big Jets Media news comes out. Peace.